Welcome back everybody, I hope you're having a beautiful day today, and I hope you're ready for a whole bunch of Reddit stories. It's going to be fun, and I hope you have a great time. Before we get into the episode, if you could like the video and subscribe if you want to, that would be amazing. I really do appreciate your support everybody, and let's get into story number 1. Am I the a-hole for going no contact with my mother-in-law after she convinced my husband to ask for a paternity test because our baby looks too much like me? Sorry, this is going to be a long one, and I apologize in advance for any spelling mistakes. English is not my first language. 4 months ago, I, 31 female, and my husband, Mark, 32 male, welcomed our first child, our daughter, Sophia. Me and Mark have been together for 10 years and married for 6. Getting pregnant wasn't exactly a walk in the park. We were trying for 2 years before it finally happened, and I miscarried 4 times during those years. My parents died when I was 15, and I lived with my grandparents until I was 18 and started at college. My mother-in-law has been like a mother to me, and had been an amazing support ever since me and Mark got together. She made dinners and called daily to check up on me after the miscarriages. When Sophia was born, the first thing that my mother-in-law did when she came to visit was to check up on how I was doing after the birth, before focusing on Sophia. I remember thinking that I had the best mother-in-law that anybody could ask for. She was the first person we told about our pregnancy at week 18, and she was over the moon about becoming a grandma. The first 4 weeks after we got home from the hospital, she moved in with us to help out with Sophia. She was so helpful and always made sure that she didn't overstep in any way. She always talked about how Sophia was a mini version of me and told everybody about how my daughter was a true copy of me. Mark was in love with our little girl and did everything that he could to help out. He came home early every day to spend as much time as he could with Sophia and me. Everything seemed perfect. It was what we'd wanted for so long. All he could talk about was how perfect our little girl was and how much she looked like me. He even found some old pictures of me and made a photo collage of me and her as babies to put on the wall. After my mother-in-law moved home, I think I saw her a couple of times and would only speak to her if I called her. But to be honest, I didn't think much of it. I was busy with being a mother. After the first 2 months, Mark started getting more distant and coming home late. He started spending a lot of time at his mother's house, as he said that she needed help with renovations in her house. I appreciated all the help that mother-in-law had given to us, so I decided to not complain about it, even though I was exhausted from never getting an hour to myself anymore. Right after Sophia turned 3, Mark came home and said that we needed to talk. He sat me down and told me that he wanted a paternity test because his mother thinks that our child looked too much like me and nothing like him. My jaw was on the floor and I felt something inside me break. He doubled down saying that he agreed with Sophia looking like me and nothing like him, and that mother-in-law had told him that I probably cheated with somebody who has some of the same features as me. Mother-in-law claims that their family genes are super strong and that Sophia should have some of Mark's features if she was his. After he was done talking, I couldn't even get a word out. I just started crying. It feels like the biggest betrayal that they both accused me of cheating, and the reason being my daughter looks too much like me. He told me that he was sorry, but his mother got into his head and he couldn't let it go, and it was constantly on his mind. I felt so defeated by the whole situation that I agreed to the paternity test. Although I told him that when the test came back telling Sophia is his daughter, I wanted nothing to do with mother-in-law, and we'd have to start couples counseling if there was any hope at all for this relationship to be saved. Fast forward to now, the test came back a week ago, and surprise, surprise, she is his daughter. He had this look of relief before the guilt and panic hit him, and he started to apologize to me over and over again. I told him that he needed to tell his mother, and then tell her that we needed a break from her. Surprisingly, he was all for it, and I could hear him yelling at her for making him doubt me, and telling her that we didn't want any contact for a while. Mark blocked her number after hanging up, so she started to call and text me. It went from that she was sorry to I was horrible for not seeing it from her point of view and taking away her family. I blocked her too, but some of his extended family has been messaging both Mark and me, calling us cold-hearted a-holes for cutting mother-in-law out the way that we have. I have started to doubt my decision, thinking that I was too harsh after being hurt. Maybe I made a mistake by distancing from mother-in-law. After all, she was only looking out for her only son. So Reddit, am I the a-hole? The top comment says, your mother-in-law may be a problem, but ultimately your husband went along with it, and that's a much, much bigger problem. The comment below that one says, yeah, he's not innocent, especially after all of her miscarriages and need for support. Holy I could never. The second top comment says, not the a-hole, but you really need to hold your husband accountable, not just your mother-in-law. She might have brought it up, but he ran with it. After years of trying for a baby, he accused you of getting pregnant from an affair, passing off the baby as his, and planning to lie to him for the rest of your life. Personally, I wouldn't be able to stay married to somebody who suddenly thought so little of me, just because of something that his mummy said. If you can get past it, you're probably a better person than I am. Yeah, and also this comment. So now your husband feels bad, but not only did he accuse you of cheating, he also spent weeks abandoning you to care for your newborn alone because he didn't believe that she was his. This comment says, absolutely. He should have shut his mother down the first time that she mentioned it. Yeah, you don't just have a mother-in-law problem, OP, you've definitely got a husband problem too. Okay, moving on to story number 2. This one's on Am I the A-hole? Am I the A-hole for screaming at my mum to wait a minute? This is stupid, but I feel like I'm losing my mind. 7 times out of 10, I can't go to the bathroom without my mum either yelling at me to open the door or banging on it. She fully expects me to immediately stop what I'm doing and let her inside the bathroom. That includes walking with the still in my butt to open the door before I can effing wipe. Why? Because she either forgot something, like phone or car keys, or has to go to the toilet herself. Even though we've got a second bathroom. I'm on the toilet, she bangs on the door. I'm taking a shower, she bangs on the door. I'm doing laundry, she bangs on the door. I'm washing my hands, she bangs on the door. It's exhausting. This morning after breakfast, I told her I was going upstairs to go to the bathroom. And she went, while staring at her phone. While I'm sitting on the toilet, nearly done wiping, and she screams at me through the door to open it because she forgot something inside from last night. Frustrated, I finished up and I washed my hands and I opened the door. There you go. I was not happy what she saw on my face because she looked completely confused and said, "What?" I lost it. I screamed at her that she has the patience of a literal toddler and to learn to wait a minute. She got upset with me about taking a tone with her and went inside the bathroom to grab her hairband. Her hairband! I've told her before to stop banging on the door and wait until I'm done, unless it's an actual emergency, but she keeps on doing it. I feel like I'm going insane. It's so frustrating and so annoying. Am I the a-hole? Edit, for the people saying to just let her in, I would, but I happen to be cursed with generalized anxiety disorder, and having people scream at me like that for long periods of time can result in panic attacks. Edit number 2, thank you everybody for the advice. I'm gonna sit her down and try to talk to her about it first. If things don't improve, I'll have to get petty, I suppose. Thank you for the laughs too, especially to the one who commented about on the roses in the garden. Yeah, like the top comment says. She's for some reason 100% doing this on purpose. Wanting to enter the toilet every time somebody's in it is not normal behavior. Ask her what her motive is, because I forgot something is not a reasonable explanation if it happens every time. The one below that says it's definitely not normal behavior. Maybe she sees it as a way to exert control or just doesn't understand personal boundaries. Either way, a serious conversation is needed. Yeah, it's 100% on purpose. Yeah, and it probably is a controlling sort of thing, or like a power move or something. Or also maybe she doesn't trust you and maybe she feels like you're doing something, but I don't know what she would feel like you were doing. But it's not an accident. She's 100% doing it on purpose. There's a second bathroom and she can't wait 10 minutes until you're done to get her hairband. This comment says, yeah, I'm thinking that there's something up about mum or mum's childhood that makes her uncomfortable with OP having private bathroom time. Yeah, I feel like it could definitely be that too. Something about OP being in there alone makes her uncomfortable. This comment says, not the a-hole, start turning it around. Wait for her to go in there and then bang on the door and demand to be let in. Yeah, not the a-hole, OP. Okay, moving on to post number 3. I'm sure it's going to be fun like all of these. Am I the a-hole for telling my husband that I don't want to be a single mum of 3 kids? So my husband, 42 male, and me, 31 female, have been married for 12 years. We have 2 kids, 8 male and 4 female. Our marriage is not great. His mother and sister often give unsolicited advice on my parenting and our marriage and our life. It's been better in the last few months since I sit my husband down multiple times. We've talked about it and this time he listened. So they backed off. Not completely, but it is better. In the last few weeks, husband started mentioning having a 3rd child, which fills me with dread. I love children and I always wanted a big family, but it'd be too much. I cook, clean, take care of the kids and work part-time from home. He doesn't really help with the house, which I'm fine with, nor with the kids though, which is a problem. I changed all diapers, I woke up at night, I take care of fevers and doctor's appointments and school and play dates, everything. The mere thought of now going through another pregnancy and then taking care of a baby makes me want to cry. I know that I'd have to do it all practically alone because my husband provides and women have been doing it for centuries. I should pull my weight and not be spoiled. Wow, the audacity. It all culminated last night after another one of his I take great care of you and all the kids and we should have a 3rd monologues. I snapped. I told him that he really doesn't, that the kids barely know him. When he comes home from work, he doesn't pay attention to them, except to snap on our daughter when she's too loud. He doesn't know anything about our days because he doesn't ask, and I stopped telling him because he wasn't listening anyway. He's not a great father nor husband as he likes to preach, and I have no desire to be a single mum of a 3rd child. 2 are quite enough, thank you. He stared at me dumbfounded and then called me a C word, delusional and ungrateful, and then stormed out to his mother's house. So am I the a-hole? Oh my god. What did we just read? This comment says not the a-hole. He was a 32-year-old who married a 19-year-old. I'm not surprised he's a Neanderthal that doesn't pull his weight. The comment below that says holy age gap Batman. This explains the power dynamic being so off. The comment above that says not the a-hole. I don't always think an age gap between couples is a problem, but in this situation it clearly is. You were 19 when you married a 30-year-old, and it's obvious why a 30-year-old here wanted a 19-year-old, because he wanted somebody who he could boss around and be in charge of. And now that you're finally starting to push back, he's having a temper tantrum and running off to his mummy. At least you've learned enough to know not to have another child with this man. OP responded and said, hi, thank you for commenting. Unfortunately, I agree. We started dating and got married when I was 18. Only dated for 9 months. I didn't see it that way back then, but now I do. I just turned 31 and I can't even imagine being attracted to an 18-year-old. Yeah, for sure. And the top comment says, not the a-hole. I'm so sorry, but your marriage seems miserable. It's like your husband is living in the 50s. And seeing at what age you married him, it's not surprising. He found somebody very young to fulfill his picket fence dream and doesn't care that you're happy or not. Yeah, and like that other comment said, has a tantrum and then runs off to his mum. The comment below that one says, not the a-hole, but you already are a single mum to 3 kids. OP does have a comment that says, hi to everybody. I don't know how to update, so I'm going to do it in the comments. For clarification, we dated for 9 months and then married when I was 18. I turned 31 a few days ago and I can't even imagine being attracted to an 18-year-old, let alone marrying an 18-year-old. But I didn't think like that back then. Whatever happens in my marriage, I am not having another child. I won't change my mind when it comes to that. I am on birth control, but I also have no desire to have sex with my husband after how he reacted and treated me. I don't have parents and I really don't want to go to my friends with this. I called my sister Em and I told her everything. A lot of things that you guys said in the comments, she's been saying for years. She showed up with food, wine, and her husband. Brother-in-law took my kids to their house for a sleepover and Em stayed with me. My husband is still with his parents. Didn't call or text. My mother-in-law called but I didn't pick up. I'm too angry and too sad to have a conversation with her. Thank you to everybody for commenting and giving me advice. It really does mean a lot. I'll update when I talk with my husband and when I know how to proceed and when I figure out how to do the update. A comment replying to OP says, I'm so glad that your sister is there to help. I think it is time to make your exit strategy. He's not gonna change and you have your whole life ahead of you. Take care. Okay, moving on to post number 4. I've got a feeling it's gonna be concerning. Am I the a-hole for refusing to babysit my sister's kids after she called me an unreliable C-word? Hi Reddit, I 20 male am a college student living at home while I save money. My older sister Sarah 27 female has 2 kids, 3 male and 5 female. My sister works full-time and since she's a single mum, she often asks me to help babysit when her daycare falls through or she has errands to run. I love my niece and nephew, they're great kids, but babysitting them is not easy. Between my classes and part-time job and trying to maintain some kind of social life, I barely have any time for myself. Still, I've been helping out for the past year whenever I can, usually for free because I know that she's struggling. Last week, Sarah called me on a Saturday morning asking if I could watch the kids for the day because her babysitter cancelled. I had plans with friends that I'd been looking forward to for weeks. I told her that I couldn't and she blew up at me, calling me an unreliable C-word and selfish. Yeah, you're not the a-hole, OP. She said I should step up more because family helps out family. Yeah, but family also doesn't call each other unreliable. The sister is a giant a-hole. I reminded her that I'm not her kid's parent, and I already help her a lot without even asking for anything in return. She kept on yelling at me, so I hung up. Since that, I've refused to babysit at all. I told her she needs to figure out her childcare situation without relying on me as a backup. Now my parents are involved saying that I'm being petty, and I should be the bigger person. Is that another way of saying keep the peace? Sarah texted me this long message about how hard her life is, and how much she depends on me. Yeah, well, you shouldn't call OP an unreliable. This one is ridiculous. The audacity of OP's sister. She ended it by saying that I'm teaching her kids that they can't count on their uncle. I feel bad because I know she's under a lot of pressure, but I also feel like I'm being taken for granted. Am I the a-hole? Absolutely not. And you're very much being taken for granted, OP. Edit. I can't respond to every comment, but thank you lovely folks for the support. I really need to stop giving a and let her sort out her mess. As for the baby dad, he dumped my sister because he wanted to focus on his career and it was too soon for a child in his eyes. My sister has been depressed and I've been doing everything in my power to support her, but I need my own space too. The top comment says not the a-hole. That You don't get to speak that way to a family member while demanding they drop everything to help. Parents are a bit unhinged if they know what she said and they still believe that you're being petty. Yeah, that's right. You don't get to speak that way to your family members. And then after that, expect them to help you. Like, you should never speak that way to your family members. This comment says she told me that I'm a selfish, unreliable. So I'm showing her what a selfish, unreliable is. I'm just doing what she told me. And a comment below that one says malicious compliance. Yeah, I can't believe the sister said that to OP. Also, I'm actually working on a malicious compliance episode at the moment, so that one will be coming out in the pretty near future. I haven't done a malicious compliance episode in so long, so it's going to be a super long episode. Okay, moving on to post number 5. This one's also on Am I the A-hole? Am I the A-hole for telling my ex to give me full custody of our kids if she wants my help, and saying that's the only help I'd ever offer her? I, 34, have 2 sons, 11 and 9, with my ex, 34. We broke up after I found out that she'd been cheating on me with this guy, Luke. She didn't fight me on it until she told Luke she was pregnant, and he disappeared. Then she told me the baby was mine, and that we should try and make it work. I told her that we'd need a DNA test, but regardless, we were never getting back together. She had her daughter, and DNA proved that she wasn't mine. We weren't married, so it made it less complicated regarding birth certificates and such. She did try to put my name on her daughter's birth certificate anyway, but was told that she couldn't. Our co-parenting relationship was so high conflict that we ended up needing to communicate through a parenting app only, and the court signed off on this. Unless there's an emergency, of course. We can try to text or email or call, but the other party is not required to acknowledge it unless it's an emergency. She hated it because she wore me down to accepting her daughter, but I did not. I'm assuming that meant she hated it because she couldn't wear me down to accepting her daughter, but I did not. About 2 years after, she dated a guy called Sean, and suddenly Sean was her daughter's real dad, and I had peace, which was nice. But they also tried to cause trouble with my sons. Luckily, my boys and I had such a good relationship that my ex and Sean couldn't come between us. My ex and Sean were together for about 2.5 years, maybe 3. He got her pregnant, and then they had a son, and he left. My ex yet again tried to get me to take on her other children. She tried to poison our children against me. The courts ordered her to attend therapy and parenting classes. Custody was not changed. We always had 50-50, but she was told there would be monetary fines if she engaged in alienation again. I was able to get our children therapy at this point. Anytime one of our boys had an event, it was difficult for a while. My ex would try to sit near me, and she had convinced her daughter that I'm her dad. I told my ex to correct it because I wasn't going to take on our daughter so she wouldn't feel bad. Her son was too young to really know what was going on. I did try for more and full custody on 4 different occasions over the way that my ex was trying to use our sons and creating even more problems and mess for them. Even with the therapist saying the kids really hated being with their mum and they'd have more stability with me, the 2 judges that we've seen so far have refused to change custody from 50-50, and that's where I'll lead into the next part. So my ex is now married and she has another daughter, and this one is with her husband. Before the child they shared, he was okay with her other 2 kids. Now he doesn't want to know them. Even I can see that during the very brief and limited interactions, but she texts me about it and I never respond. One of the 4 attempts at custody was when she admitted her house is hell and how much her kids are suffering because of it, but the judge still denied me. Anyway, she wants me to be there for her 2 other kids. I still say no. She told me she needs my help. That's when I said the only help that I'd give is taking full custody of our boys. She freaked out and told me that I shouldn't separate them from their family and get in the way of the sibling relationship, which honestly to me, my boys don't seem to have a close or otherwise involved relationship with any of their 3 half-siblings. The therapist even stated this. But my ex is calling me an ass and saying that I shouldn't take such a hard stance and I should be helping for our son's sake. Am I the a-hole? The top comment says, not the a-hole. What a crappy situation for you and your sons. Your best bet is do not interact at all outside of issues with your sons. I hope things get better. Sometimes judges suck. And OP said, I try to do just that, and until I replied to all of this after ages of getting texts about it, all I did communicate with her about was our boys. This comment says, you're not the a-hole. You've made it clear that you're only willing to help if it doesn't interfere with your own children's well-being, and you've already tried to step in for their sake in the past. It sounds like your ex hasn't respected your boundaries or your role as a parent, and you've been firm about not taking on her other children. You've also tried to keep things stable for your sons, which is your priority. Her anger is more about her problems, not your responsibility. You're just standing up for your kids and maintaining healthy boundaries. Yeah, and like this comment says too, Jesus Christ, does this woman know where babies come from? She needs to stop breeding. And OP said she knows, she just doesn't seem to care about stopping the stream of babies that she's having. OP's got a comment that says she knows that they don't want the kids they made with her, so she's trying to go after me because I stayed in our boys' lives and I fought to be in their life, even when she attempted to push me out. She sees me as the the safe bet for having 4 of her kids always taken care of and paid for. Yeah, what a mess of a situation. But no, you're not the a-hole, OP. Moving on to post number 6. I'm sure it's going to be scary but also fun at the same time. Am I the a-hole for telling my sister she can't be everybody's favourite, and being our parents' favourite should be enough? I, 17 male, fought with my sister, 15 female, the other day, and I got kicked out of my parents' house because of it. I might have gone too far, so I'm here to find out. My parents treated my sister like the favourite. She was the kid who couldn't get in trouble, who could wrap them around her finger and get away with hell, but the favouritism mainly showed in them spoiling her and dedicating one-on-one time for her, while they never made much of an effort with me. She gets pulled out of school early 1 to 2 times a month for a hangout with one of our parents, and sometimes they pull her out for family time. I never get pulled out of school for stuff like that. My parents make a bigger deal out of my sister's birthday, and she gets a choice of her birthday parties. I always had to go for what my parents chose for me. Sometimes they let my sister choose what we should do for my birthday. And there are 5 years I can easily say the birthday was for her and not for me because I hated it. One time it was this tea party place. Another time it was a spa. Like, yeah, I was there, but it wasn't about me. When we were younger, the other thing was she'd get at least 2 presents to open during my party or somebody else's party. Oh, this is infuriating. Your parents, OP, are creating an entitled brat. There is absolutely no reason she should be having presents on your birthday. That is so wild. And typical too. I bet your parents can't see how unfair they're being. My parents always talk about how proud they are of my sister. They've pinned her art on our schedule board. They post about every report card that she gets. My grades are better and more consistent, but she still gets all the praise. My sister could be invited for an all-girl cousin sleepover. My parents never let me go to an all-boy one unless my sister could be invited. Another thing was aunts and uncles can invite her to hang out with cousins without me, but not me without her. The only people who were allowed to have just me were my paternal grandparents. They fought my parents to have special time with me. They always tried to make me feel less unwanted. They spoil me a little. They show up to support me every time I've got a competition that I'm in, and sometimes they can get other family to come too. They always make sure that I get a wanted birthday present and Christmas present because my parents don't make the same effort, while my sister might get 5 to 6 wants each time. Yeah, I can't stand people like your parents, OP. Stuff like this is so unfair. They tried to include my sister sometimes, but she never wanted to come, and they never pushed it. But she was invited and my grandparents didn't completely ignore her. My sister's effing gloated about our parents not getting me any good presents, or about how she has all the control for my birthday celebrations. So frustrating. Or that I never get to pick the takeout place like she does. She said our parents don't like spending time with me either, since I never join in on family stuff. She's jealous about it now and has bitched to me about it since September 20th, when she wanted me to know that it wasn't fair that I was getting so much cool stuff from them when she got nothing. The thing that she complained about was a refurbished $150 laptop that they got me for school before Christmas because my parents wouldn't replace my old one, that my grandparents bought by the way, and they weren't okay with me using the family computer. But guess who could use mine when hers was broken? Yeah, anyway, she bitched about it and then bitched even more when I got stuff to customize my PlayStation 5 and some other stuff for Christmas. She told me that they never get her all the cool stuff that she wants. She complained about it, and then the other day I snapped when she told me that I'm so the favorite and how crappy that is and how much I suck and they suck for having a favorite. She said that she didn't do anything to not be. I told her that she can't be everybody's favorite and being our parents' favorite should be enough. My sister told me that I was a jerk for saying that, and I told her at least I'm not a selfish entitled princess, and she already gets practically everything that she wants off of her wish list, so why is she complaining when I get 1 or 2 things that I want? I told her that she knows her parents don't do for me. I told her she's not even a good sister, but at least she's their favorite, right? She started screaming at the top of her lungs that she hated me, and our parents came in and asked me what the fight was about, and when they heard I called her their favorite and told her that she can't be everybody's favorite, they said that I needed to leave. All they're doing is proving your point. I'm at my grandparents' house and my sister texted me once saying that I had no right to say all of those mean things to her and that I hurt her feelings. Yeah, and I'm sure your sister's feelings are the only feelings that your parents are going to care about. Am I the a-hole? Absolutely not. And the thing is with this sort of stuff where the parents have like an obvious favorite and they pretty much make sure that that person grows up to be an entitled brat, because people like your sister have become such entitled brats because of their parents, they're never going to be anybody else's favorite. They're only ever going to be your parents' favorite. Like, congratulations, you created a self-centered, entitled brat. And that sort of parenting only makes life harder for people like your sister, because people like your sister are growing up thinking that they're the center of the universe. And yeah, they become super entitled. And people don't like people like that. The top comment says, not the a-hole. This is a pretty standard sibling argument. Your parents kicked you out of the house for this? They and your sister are complete pieces of Yeah, for sure. And I know OP's sister is only 15 and just a product of OP's parents' bad parenting. But yeah, by the sounds of it, it's not going to get any better. The second top comment says, you are definitely not the a-hole. I understand what it's like to not be included and to have a favorite sibling. It's rough. Your parents are crappy and I'm sorry that that's the hand you were dealt. Yeah, I can't stand people like OP's parents. They're the absolute worst. Like, yeah, fine, you love your daughter and you want to spoil your daughter, but you've also got a son and you're not treating your son the same. And all of this sort of stuff is at the expense of your son. And yeah, like this comment says too, not the a-hole. Your parents proved your point by kicking you out. Yeah, and guaranteed they only care that your sister's upset now. By the sounds of it, they don't care at all how you feel. This comment says not the a-hole. And depending on where you live, your parents probably did something illegal when kicking you out, since you're a minor. And OP said, oh yeah, it's illegal to make your kid homeless when they're under 18 where I live. Yeah, there you go. How unbelievably awful. This comment says, your parents don't seem to realize it, but they're actually f***ing up her life. They take her out of school regularly, meaning that she's missing important lessons when she's at the point of important exams and stuff coming up. They're raising her spoiled so she won't have the life skills to get anywhere on her own. She'll grow up clueless with hardly any qualifications. It's gonna massively backfire on all three of them. Yeah, it's the worst parenting ever because you're creating a spoiled brat that feels like the entire world revolves around them, and when they grow up and get out on their own and they realize that people don't all obsess over them like their parents do, yeah, it's gonna be really hard for them. Yeah, like this comment says, not the a-hole. Stay with your grandparents. Your parents and your sister are a-holes. And OP said, that's what I'm hoping to do. Yeah, for sure. Live with the grandparents, OP. Your parents absolutely suck. And the fact that they kicked you out, who do they think they are? Okay, moving on to post number 7. This one's also on Am I the a-hole? Am I the a-hole for breaking up with my girlfriend after she said that she doesn't want to have kids, but I do? I, 34 male, have been with my girlfriend, 30 female, for 3 years. From the start, we've talked about our future and I made it clear that I want to have kids eventually. She seemed okay with it, saying that she was open to it, but as time went on, I realized that she was only stringing me along. Last week we had a big talk and she finally admitted that she doesn't want kids ever. She even went as far to say, I'm not one of those women who think that motherhood is going to magically complete me. That's why I had to abort our last one because I'm so sure of myself. At first I was shocked, thinking that I might have irked her for some reason, or maybe it was just a temporary feeling, but then in the morning she dropped another bombshell. I'm happy with my life as is. If you really want kids, we should probably go our ways. She said no woman in her right mind wants kids. Is that true? Are all women like that? Then I don't have any hope of making a family ever. I was devastated. She knew this was something I wanted. I've supported her dreams and her career, even moved cities to be with her. Yet when it comes to something so fundamental to envision a life together, she tells me it means nothing for her to have a baby. I asked her, then why did she always insist on having unprotected sex? She said it was purely a sexual desire like our other kinks. I'm too confused at this point. I thought we were like one body and soul, but she feels so distant and strange all of a sudden. And what hurt me the most was when she said, if you leave me over this, then maybe you never loved me in the first place? Like, are you serious? That felt like an emotional manipulation tactic, trying to guilt trip me into staying in a relationship where we're clearly not on the same page. I had a terrible mother who didn't love her children, and I felt that convincing her would be a bigger failure if she didn't adore my kids in the future, so I broke up with her. She's been calling and texting non-stop, crying about how I destroyed everything, but I feel it was me who built everything, and she's the one who destroyed us. I'm overwhelmed with this spiraling of gaslighting and not accepting that this is a breaking point. I've been so invested in nurturing this relationship and supporting her with many issues over the years that I've lost good friends and I have nobody to reach to for solace or support, feeling crushed and hopeless towards finding anybody at this age and making a family together. This comment says, not the a-hole. It's not fair of her to say that you never loved her just because you don't agree on something this important. Having kids is a fundamental life decision, and it's totally valid for you to want that. She knew that from the beginning, so she has no right to guilt trip you now. You deserve to be with somebody whose life goals align with yours. That bit where she said, if you leave me over this, then maybe you never loved me in the first place. That's such a wild thing to say. Like, by the sounds of it, OP was under the impression that she wanted to have kids too at some point, and that they were on the same page. So, like, was she dishonest with OP for the entire relationship? But then to say, if you leave me over this, then maybe you never loved me in the first place, that's an unbelievable thing to say. Like, hey, you knew from day one that I wanted to have kids one day. So what do you mean? You said that you were open to it? Like, that's so terrible. The fact that OP was so clear from the beginning. Like, hey, I really do want to have kids one day. And by the sounds of it, she was giving OP the impression that she wanted to have kids too one day. And now pretty much the rug's being pulled pulled out from underneath OP, but it's OP's fault for breaking up with her, even though OP's been clear and honest about what he wants from the beginning? No, that's not fair. Moving on to post number 8. Also on Am I the A-hole? Am I the A-hole for telling my sister that my nephew is not my baby? My sister, 23 female, lives at home and has a 6-month-old baby. She never moved in with her boyfriend because they live far from each other, and neither of them wanted to compromise. Her baby daddy never comes around. He's seen their son probably less than 30 days total of his entire life. And because of this, my sister has been treating me, 21 female, and my mum as his other parent. She expects free childcare constantly while she works and whatnot, and gets very upset when I act hesitant about it for whatever reason, because she doesn't want to send him to daycare. She would be eligible to get free childcare in our state, but doesn't trust it. And I love my nephew to death, but these are my child-free college years. I've been parentified and forced to play mummy for my little siblings for years, and just when they're getting to the age when they don't need me so much, I don't think I should be forced to step up and play mummy to another child who isn't mine, especially when I'm on winter break for the next couple of weeks, and I want to enjoy sleeping in way too late and being lazy before I get thrown back into full-time college. This has been happening for 4 months at this point though, so when she asked if I'd watch him tomorrow, I got a bit of an attitude but ultimately said yes. But to that she got snappy with me and was like, why do you always act like you don't want to do it? To which I got upset and I responded, because he's not my kid and I shouldn't be expected to do this all the time. She got very angry at me and is now not talking to me at all, and is surely gonna weaponize my nephew against me. And to an extent, sure, I do understand her anger. I know that you should be able to rely on your village, and I don't know if I'm in the wrong for not wanting to do this, but I'm so tired of taking care of other people's children all the time for free, even if I love the kids to death. I can't tell if I'm being selfish or not. Am I the a-hole here? Not even a little bit, OP. The top comment says, not the a-hole. You did not decide to have a baby. She did. Taking care of her baby is her responsibility. I might be hesitant to put a 6-week-old in daycare, but not a 6-month-old. Now, if he goes to daycare and one day she needs you because baby is sick and can't go, then yeah, I'd hope you'd step up. But that should be a rare thing. It's her kid, not yours. And OP said, yeah, if it was a once-in-a-while thing, I wouldn't mind so much. But expecting me to get up at 7, 3 to 4 days a week for months without any plan of ever arranging other childcare is absolutely bizarre. I love my nephew to death, but I can't keep doing this. I don't have kids yet for a reason. The second top comment says, not the a-hole 100%. She expects free childcare constantly while she works and whatnot, and gets very upset when I act hesitant about it for whatever reason. You didn't choose to have a child. She did. She has no right to put her responsibilities on you. If she doesn't trust the childcare, it's on her to find another solution. You absolutely have every right to enjoy your freedom. You're 21. I don't think I should be forced to step up and play mummy to another child who isn't mine. Absolutely. Especially as you've already had to go through parentification, which is never okay. If she does weaponize your nephew against you, that's a clear statement of who she is. Doing that is always disgraceful. You are not being selfish. She is. Stand your ground. Moving on to post number 9. This one that we're going to read is on the Today I Messed Up subreddit. Today I messed up by falling asleep in the bath. So I've got the flu and a bunch of mini issues that came with that. Ear infection, nausea, headaches. So for the first time in a very long time, I decided I was going to soak in the bath. I have like 3 bath bombs in the back of my bathroom cupboard that I've had for maybe 2 years because I usually shower, not bathe. And I decided that I wanted to use the glittery peach one. To my horror and apparently my husband's, peach glitter bath bomb is neither peach nor glittery, but the closest red that I've ever seen to blood. I'm soaking in the bath and I knock out. I must be a shallow breather. From what I was told, I was faced away from the door, and the way that my hair dragged down made it seem like I was face down in the water. I'm a very, very, very heavy sleeper. I've got like 20 morning alarms to wake up and I still tend to get up late. So my husband touching my leg did not wake me up, nor did he scream. And apparently my skin felt ice cold. My brother-in-law runs in, starts freaking out and running out to find his phone, and my husband tries to grab and hold me. I imagine this was very dramatic, and in that process my head goes under the water for a second and I pop up because I got water in my nose. I'm confused as to why my husband's crying, and my brother-in-law runs back in thanking God, and my husband is trying to find where the blood was coming from. I'm obviously terrified by the audience while I'm butt naked in the bath, and if it couldn't get any worse, I was asleep so long that the bubbles were gone, so I was just exposed. I yelled at them to get out and I just stood up and showered. Definitely not a fan of this situation. Gonna stick to showers. Gonna avoid my brother-in-law for the rest of my life. Too long didn't read. I took a bath. Bath bomb made me look bloody. I fell asleep and I woke up to a grieving husband. This comment says, on the positive side, it's nice to know that your family love you, and they ran around like the proverbial decapitated chickens to help the best that they could. This comment says, oh no, your poor husband. I hope you gave him a hug and consoled him. Poor man thought that he lost you. And OP said, I definitely did after I got over the horror and embarrassment. I was definitely pep talking myself through my shower to show my face again. He kept to my hip the rest of the night. Yeah, wow, that would have been horrifying. Be careful in the future, OP. And moving on to post number 10. Am I the a-hole for refusing to watch my neighbor's kid before school because she kept on nagging me? I, female 35, am a stay-at-home mum with 2 kids, John, male 10, and Ava, female 8. My neighbor Zoe, female 42, works full-time and asked at the beginning of the school year if she could drop off her daughter Sue, female 9, an hour before school starting twice a week. I agreed and I was happy to help out a neighbor. However, things got bad pretty fast. My kids do not get along with Sue and they see entertaining her as a chore. Both of my kids enjoy sports and arts and playing outside, while Sue is glued to her phone. Despite this, Sue pouts when my kids do their own thing, instead of trying to engage with her. Zoe called me a few weeks into the school year to nag me for having the kids walk or bike to school, saying that it was unsafe and asking me to drive Sue. I told her no, if Sue was old enough to have a phone, she was old enough to walk or bike to school. A week later, she asked me to cook real sausage for Sue, in addition to veggie sausages that I make for my kids. My husband and I don't buy meat. Sue could eat what I cook, but if she wanted specific food, she would have to prepare it herself. For the first semester of school, Zoe nagged me with similar requests. Don't play songs with explicit lyrics. Don't let multiple kids on the trampoline at the same time. Watch the kids when they're outside. When I refused, she was respectful and would be like, sorry to bother you, but she still had new requests every week. At the end of the semester, I told her that I was not going to make adjustments to our family lifestyle and inconvenience my family for the sake of her child. Sue's safety was not at risk. If she was unsatisfied with Sue's situation, there were plenty of other people in the neighborhood who could watch her. Zoe seemed really receptive, and I was hopeful that would be the end of her nagging. When my kids got home on December 20th, I asked her, you excited for 2.5 weeks without any school? John responded, I'm more excited for 2.5 weeks without any Sue. Ava nodded and giggled. It broke my heart to know that they were more happy to get a break from Sue than school. Just a couple of days ago, Zoe reached out to me thanking me for agreeing to watch Sue and asking if I could watch her a couple of afternoons a week in addition so that Zoe could have some me time. I told her this would no longer work. Our kids did not mesh well, and I did not want to deal with more inappropriate requests. I thought Zoe might be mad, but instead she just begged me to watch Sue at least one morning a week. She apologized profusely and said that I could parent however I wanted to. This made me feel bad because she genuinely needed my help and didn't know what she would do. I told her that I knew I could and that her apology was too little too late. My husband and my kids stand by my decision, but some of the other mums think that I should have been more accommodating, saying that I'm selfish, that mums help mums and I'll never know when I might need help. Does my refusal to help Zoe make me an a-hole? The top comment says, not the a-hole. You did this to your kids for long enough. Now it's time to prioritize them for a change. But some of the other mums think I should have been more accommodating, saying that I'm selfish. Tell them it's great that they're volunteering. You'll pass their offer on to Zoe. The comment below that says, I like the request for me time without any reciprocation offered. And then mums help mums, but only if it benefits me, not the a-hole. You were kind and generous. The second top comment says, not the a-hole, she's begging. You can parent however you want to, just one day a week. You feel bad, you say okay, and then fast forward a few weeks, and then it's 2 mornings and 2 afternoons. Zoe needs to find her own daycare. Parenting is hard and we could all use a break, but the audacity of asking you to take her additionally in the afternoon a couple of times for me time, as if you aren't dealing with your own kids and hers. And the comment below that one says, not the a-hole. Tell the mums who are calling you selfish that they can look after the kid instead. You provided so many hours of free childcare already. Moving on to story 11. Once again on Am I the a-hole? Am I the a-hole for leaving my mother's party after she insulted my daughter? I, 36 female, have a stepdaughter, 14 female, Anna. Her father and I married when Anna was 2. I consider her to be my real daughter in every way that matters, and I love her just as much as my biological children. Most of my family adores Anna. She's a very sweet and hardworking girl who does her best to make them proud. However, my mother, 55 female, appears to not. She's never outright said that she dislikes my daughter or why, but I've always thought it's because Anna wasn't my biological child. I've been teaching Anna to cook for a few years now. She asked me last year if she could start bringing her cooking to family gatherings and potlucks, and of course I agreed. My mother started critiquing Anna's dishes. It began by suggesting that she add different spices or cook an ingredient a little bit longer, but over the past few months it's been getting worse. She doesn't criticize the dishes of any family members. This Thanksgiving, she told Anna that the casserole that she made was disgusting and inedible. I told my mother to stop criticizing Anna and that she was doing her best, but she brushed me off, which was the final straw. My family was in town this week to celebrate my mother's birthday. I had some curry that my mother had made about 6 months ago and given to me to freeze, so I reheated it and I brought it to the party. And I told everybody that Anna had worked very hard to make it just like her grandmother always did. Immediately, my mother started criticizing the curry, saying how Anna had added too much spice and overcooked the chicken. She even went so far as to tell Anna that she should stop bringing food to potlucks altogether. I hadn't originally intended to make a big deal out of this, but that comment crossed a line. I informed my mother that that was her curry, and Anna had not actually cooked it. She immediately started sputtering and backpedaled, saying that she was only trying to give constructive criticism and make Anna a better cook. Yeah, sure you were. But I knew that she didn't really believe it. I asked her why she would treat my own stepdaughter so badly, and she admitted that she didn't see Anna as her real grandchild. This was the final straw for me. I found my husband, Anna, and my other children, and I told them that we had to leave, explaining what my mother said. We probably won't be attending any family gatherings for the foreseeable future either. My mother has gone full scorched earth on Facebook, and most family members have taken her side. She says that I ruined her party by leaving, and that I destroyed our relationship for somebody who isn't even my real child. My husband is on my side, but he thinks that we shouldn't have left the party, since I'd already proven my point. The top comment, not the a-hole. You're not just sticking up for Anna, but you're protecting her from what amounts to verbal abuse. Plus, you're drawing a line with your mum that some behaviour is not acceptable. That's always a good line to take, especially with parents and in-laws that don't understand the idea that they can't do whatever they want to and treat people like crap with impunity. The second top comment says, not the a-hole. You chose to be Anna's mother, and you are. Your mother is a huge a-hole, attacking her for no reason other than she doesn't see her as a real grandchild. Go very limited contact to no contact with her and anybody else that has an issue. Anna did nothing to deserve all of that. Hopefully she keeps on cooking and baking and doesn't let those comments affect her. This comment says that's a horrible thing to say and totally expose the bullying. Why would you stick around after an insult like that? I would leave too when you're made to feel so unwelcome. Family isn't just blood. My mother is adopted and she kind of struggles with that to this day. Her adoptive and biological mothers have both passed away. On my dad's side, his wife doesn't really accept me or my brother, so we've got no relationship with his wife at all. It's hard with blended families. I'm sorry there's no magic answers, but not the a-hole. And the comment below that says, not the a-hole. I do think your husband's an a-hole for wanting to stay when somebody is so clearly rude and excluding yours and his daughter. Yeah, you did a good job here, OP. Okay, moving on to post number 12. This one once again is on Am I the a-hole? Am I the a-hole for leaving my dad's birthday dinner after overhearing my sister's comment about my miscarriage? A few months ago, me 28 female and my sister Eva 33 female realized that we were both pregnant. She's been struggling with infertility, so we were also happy for her. I have an older son 2 male with my husband 32 male. Sadly, a couple of weeks ago I lost my baby. They were all supportive, but I did sort of pull away from them. They would have tried to avoid discussing Eva's baby around me, but I didn't want to overshadow her, especially since she's wanted this for a long time. I also didn't want to be reminded of my own loss whenever I saw her, so I haven't been to my parents' place for Sunday dinner since, or really spent time with Eva, which we had been doing a lot before. I replied vaguely to any messages about my absence. Was not the best communication from me. Yesterday my parents were hosting family dinner for my dad's birthday. I've been thinking about going because I miss my family, and while of course the pain of losing my child has not faded, I'm at a point where I can at least put a little bit to the side to be there for my sister and my new niece when she's born, so I let my family know that we would be coming. However, we had to get a gift for my dad, and then my son had a bit of a tantrum, so we got to my parents' place about an hour late. I wished my dad, and then we went to the kitchen, where my mum, Eva, and my sister-in-laws were. But before I went in, I heard them say my name, so I stopped. My mum was saying something like, well, I guess OP's not coming, and Eva said, what did you expect? She probably changed her mind and is just staying home again. Honestly, I'm sorry for her, but you would think that she was the first woman to ever lose a kid, and it's not even her first kid. They then kept on talking about other stuff, but I just wanted to leave. I went and got my husband, who was with my brother-in-law, dad, and brothers in the living room. I told my dad I was really sorry, but we needed to go. They all protested, but my husband could see how upset I was, so he didn't. We got my son and we left. When we got home, I just kind of cried for a while. My husband asked me what happened, and I told him. He was so angry that she said that, but thought we probably shouldn't have abruptly left because my dad has been looking forward to seeing us, and my son did miss his cousins. After this, I felt conflicted. Later, my brother texted me saying that my dad had been really upset about us leaving and brought it up at dinner, which caused a whole fight because Mum and Eva realized that I must have heard them talking, and my dad was mad about it. My brother said it was pretty bad and he wished I could have stayed so that it wouldn't have happened. Obviously, Eva didn't mean for me to hear that. They were all just frustrated that I'd been AWOL for so long. Now I feel bad because I didn't mean to ruin dinner. Obviously, what Eva said was hurtful, but I can see how my actions might have led to her saying something out of anger, and I could have talked to her about it later instead of leaving. I don't know, am I the a-hole? Edit to add for additional context. My family's the type to drop by at each other's places and see one another multiple times during the week, besides just Sunday dinner. Lately, I've been kind of fielding off any requests for people to visit. I just want to, I guess, emphasize how close my family is and how abnormal it is for me not to be seeing them regularly, even for a bit. I haven't been ghosting them, but just texting them saying I'm not feeling up to it for dinner, and I kind of leave it there. My sister and my mum have always been closer to each other, as have me and my dad. Additionally, my brothers are closer to her since they're all closer in age. I mentioned this in a comment, but we didn't text anybody saying that we were going to be late, since my family's usually pretty relaxed about time. Me and my husband usually do show up early though, so it is unusual for us to be late, and it might have been why they thought we weren't coming. Also, my son was continuing to be a handful all the way there, so that kept us busy, and we kinda didn't think about notifying anybody. I've started looking into grief counselling, now that I feel like I can at least talk about it. As far as she's told us, my sister hasn't had a miscarriage before. She just had trouble getting pregnant to begin with. From what my brother told me, my sister and mum didn't admit to saying anything. They just kinda looked at each other once my dad mentioned me leaving, and he noticed and asked about it. Then one of my sister-in-laws, who was also in the kitchen, my other brother's wife, mentioned what they said, and my dad got mad. My other brother was also apparently pretty angry with them, and it just turned into mum and my sister trying to defend themselves, and my dad and other brother yelling, and my brother who texted me trying to stay out of it. The top comment says, grief has no time limit. Recovery from a miscarriage sucks because hormones and pain and suffering emotionally. The fact that your family thinks you needed to seemingly suck it up and get over it is ridiculous. So no, you weren't wrong from taking time in dealing with your loss. It sounds like they were more focused on your sister finally getting pregnant, and they want you to do the same. It's like, how dare you make your miscarriage about yourself? Don't you know your sister's pregnant? So your sister, who has struggled with infertility, finally gets pregnant and decides that a miscarriage is no big deal because it happens all the time, and you already have a kid? Your brother's upset because your family fight wouldn't have happened if you just sucked it up and stayed. So what, no consequences for your mum and your sister? I'm sorry, but hell no, not the a-hole. Ask your sister if she remembers not being able to get pregnant, and ask her to imagine what she would have done if she overheard you saying, oh, she's probably staying home again. You know, she isn't the first woman to suffer infertility. She can always adopt if she wants a kid so bad. Yeah, your sister likely dreaded being around pregnant women and babies because of her struggles, even if she wasn't vocal about it. But now that she's pregnant and now the only pregnant sister, she thinks that she can look down and judge you? Imagine if it were reversed. I bet your family would be having her over for dinner and asking you to stay home because you were pregnant and it was too hard for her. I'm sorry, but she's a selfish jerk, and I wouldn't accept any apology that she gives, if she does. Remember, she's not sorry because of what she said. She's sorry because she got caught saying it. And your family's wrong for blaming you for being rightfully upset because your sister faced the consequence of voicing her thoughts out loud. The second top comment says, Jesus Christ, what's wrong with your family? It's been weeks since you lost your baby. Weeks. You missed what, 2 or 3 Sunday dinners? And this is how your mother and sister speak of you. And then your brother wishes to rug sweep it all. Your family is ridiculously non-confrontational, considering how it's been conditioned into you and your brother, because I would have stepped into that room immediately after hearing something so vile and told my father exactly why I was leaving. However, I do understand that it was shocking, so I don't blame you for just leaving, as opposed to breaking down or making a scene. Even your husband's acting like you should have played along in those circumstances. Not the a-hole OP, but my lord, you're related to some troglodytes. Edit, you need to sit down and talk to your dad. He's on the right side of this, but even so, I don't believe he got the full story. There's no way they'd own up to saying what they said. The comment below that says, your closest people should support you, not talk behind your back when you're not there. People grieve differently. They should have been happy that you're at the stage that you're ready to socialize. Not the a-hole for me, just a crappy situation for your dad, as he had no part in this, and it was his birthday. Give him a call and meet up just with him and have an honest talk. Don't ghost him and the rest of the people who didn't participate in the stupid talking. Mother and sister need to think about their stupid gossip talk, regardless of if it was your first child or not. Okay, moving on to post number 13. This one is on Entitled People. Entitled, Disney Mum cuts the line, so I get her and her kids kicked off the ride. Today I visited Disney for the first time since I was 9 years old. Super fun day. Lines longer than I remember, but maybe I was just excited back then. My friend and I discovered the single rider lanes, and we took advantage of it due to the shorter wait times, and it did not matter to us to ride separately. As we were waiting in that line, a family of 4, a mum, 2 daughters and a dad, walked through the middle of the line holding hands. Several people are disgruntled and asking what they're doing. Mum claims that they forgot something on the ride. They make it to the part of the ride where single riders, fast pass riders and the original line are all in a similar area. One of the ladies behind me screams, "What did you forget?" Everybody in the single rider lane is fuming as we realise that she's only waiting to get on the ride with her kids. They get shuffled into the pre-ride movie area before my friend and I. We're shocked that nobody brought it up to any of the staff's attention. Meanwhile, all the single riders are trauma bonding over this lady's boldness and entitlement. So when my friend and I get shuffled into the pre-ride movie area, I tell one of the staff about the lady and her kids and what she did. He says at this point, since they're already in the line to board the car, that he can't do much. We make it to the car boarding line and lo and behold, there's the lady and her 2 kids. I stop yet another employee and I explain the situation. She says that she'll let somebody know, but walks in the opposite direction of the rider operators. Then one of the kids runs up to a man directly behind my friend and I, pulls on his arm and says, "Come on, Dad." We turn around and Dad's behind us. He refuses to join his family, probably because he heard everybody in the line complaining about what they did. So everybody starts speaking louder, the whole line. What a terrible example to set for your children. What makes them feel so entitled? Everybody's waiting the same, some people for hours. Why do they think they're so special? Why lie to get what you want? The whole line is loudly speaking so these people know exactly what we think of them. Dad continues to hang back and let people get in front of him as he hangs his head in shame and his family inches closer to the front of the line. I'd had enough at that point. I talked to the people in front of me and I asked if I could go let the ride operators know what happened, because I'll be damned if they're getting on this ride. I asked the people in front of me to warn the ride operators and they were all happy to step aside. The mum is blocking the walkway because they're up next. I tap her on her side and say, "Excuse me," and I stare her down. She slides over without a word. I then tell the ride operator, this lady and her 2 children cut the entire line through the single rider's line, claiming that she forgot something. You can ask anybody in this line. She gives me the most evil, disgusted, shocked glare. I walk back to where my friend was, and another woman goes up to the line operator to verify my story. The Disney mum is trying to say that both of us are lying, and then everybody in the line starts yelling and telling the same story, determined to not let her or her kids on the ride. They were eventually escorted outside the side door, and everybody in the line clapped. Yeah, that's so annoying, and like the top comment says, I bet the entitled mother would be the loudest to complain if somebody cut the line in front of her. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, entitled people are so frustrating. And moving on to story number 14, which is also on the entitled people subreddit. My sister wants to use a burial plot that she doesn't own. My sister, 54 female, and I, 63 male, are estranged for a lot of reasons. She was the golden child. I was given a 63 Chevy pickup when I got my driver's license. She got a Mustang convertible. I went to college and she did drugs and had children without marriage. I got student debt and she got a mobile home, which she of course lost due to drugs. She had 2 wonderful kids that were able to get taken from her and are doing well. Our father raised them. My father and mother were divorced in the 70s, due in part to the stress of my sister. My mother tried to help her. She let her live with her and helped her get jobs, but she always relapsed. So now to the present situation. My father died 4 years ago and I bought him a nice burial plot in Bozeman. The plot's in my name and is in a very nice location in the veterans section. My mother died last summer. I went up and I was at the hospital when she died. My sister was nowhere around. We were able to reconnect without her. My mum's will stated that my sister and I were supposed to get the house jointly, but somehow she got on the deed by right of survivorship, which meant that she got it. She tried to get me to help pay the remaining mortgage, but that wasn't going to happen, so she had to sell it, and I bought it. She was mad and she took mum's remains and disappeared so that we couldn't hold a ceremony. Now 6 months after, she reappears and says that she's paying for a burial. But here's the catch, my mother is a veteran, so she has a veteran group to pay for the room. The VA for the headstone and I get a call from the funeral home asking if they bury her with our dad, somebody she was divorced from for over 50 years. This comment says, I mean, there's a lot going on here and some fuzzy details, but how did your sister's behavior cause your parents divorced in the 70s when she was only a little kid? Either way, she sounds awful, and I'm sorry that you have to pick up some of these pieces. And OP said, you're right, the dates are a little loose and confusing, so let me be more precise. I was born in 1961, and she's 6 years younger, born in 1967. I left for college in 79, and she started sneaking boys into the house at 13. She'd been doing drugs before then. My parents tried treatment and buying her things. Their divorce was official before I graduated in 83. So yeah, she was a terror as a little kid. One Christmas, she got a real pinball machine, while my brother and I got clothes. Okay, time for post number 15. Back on Am I the A-hole? Am I the A-hole for divorcing my wife and telling everybody that she cheated on me? I, 28 male, have been married to my wife, 29 female, for 2 years. Dated her for 4 years. I won't lie, I still love her, and I still do. And it hurts me a bit to let her go, but I've got no other choice but to divorce her, because she betrayed me. I found out that my wife cheated on me. She didn't actually cheat, she was just kissing somebody while dancing with him. I never suspected her, and there were no red flags, even when I checked her phone. Until one of her friends I barely know showed me a photo. I asked her multiple questions, like if she sleeps around or repeatedly kisses somebody else, but she said that this never happened before, and she was very drunk, but she thought that I should know. I thanked her and I told her to forward that photo to me. I immediately asked my wife if she ever cheated. She refused, so I showed her the photo. My wife started crying and said that it was a mistake, and the only mistake that she's made, and that she didn't tell me because she thought that I'd be angry. I said, of course, wouldn't you? I said, I'm divorcing her. She was shocked and said that she anticipated that I'd get angry, but would I divorce and throw away a relationship of 6 years over a kiss? I said I would, and I started leaving, and she tried to stop me, but I didn't listen. She and our families both called me a lot and sent me angry texts. I ignored them all and instead got got drunk and started going to clubs. When I had enough of this harassment, I sent a long text to everybody explaining everything, and I sent the photo. My wife sent me an angry text after I ignored her calls, and she said that I shouldn't have told everybody about what's happening in our life, and her family members are angry at her, and some even cut her off. Oh my god, the consequences of their actions. I should have kept it between us both, and I'm going too far over a kiss when she was drunk so much that she could barely walk. So am I the a-hole for telling everybody that she cheated? The top comment says, not the a-hole. She didn't actually cheat, she was just kissing somebody. Brother, that's cheating. Not to mention that she lied to you before you pulled out the evidence. What else is she lying about and not telling you? This comment says, not the a-hole. So it's perfectly fine for her to tell everybody that you're divorcing her and send them all after you to harass you, but you're not allowed to clear the air and give them background on why you made that decision? Yeah, and this comment too, not the a-hole. She dragged the family into your marital issues, not you. She f***ed around and found out, and does not like the consequences. OP also has this post. Am I the a-hole for divorcing my wife and telling everybody that she cheated on me? I decided I needed to clear everything between us before I file, so that we can have a clean divorce. I called my wife and I told her to meet me to talk. I asked her to meet me in a park near my house. When my wife came, she hugged me and asked me to let's go home. I refused and I said I asked her to meet me to clear things up between us, which made her a bit angry, and she said that I'm being unreasonable. I said, wouldn't you be angry if you found out that I was drinking and dancing and kissing other women and hiding all of that from you? She said that she would, but she wouldn't throw away a relationship of 6 years over it. Well, you're throwing the relationship away, are you, OP? It's already frustrating. Like, oh yeah, I know I was dancing and kissing other people, but you're the one who's throwing away the relationship? I said that was easy for you to say because you cheated, and I didn't, and all I want is a clean divorce. She asked me why I'm not open to reconciliation. I said because you broke my trust, and I don't want to spend the rest of my life worrying about what my wife is going to do behind my back. And how would I know if it's only just a kiss and nothing else happened, and she didn't or wouldn't kiss anybody else? I just want a divorce. She said divorces are long and extreme. She loves me, and she said that she's sorry, and that she'll try to delay as much as she can because she doesn't want to lose me. I said, I'm sorry as well, but I'm done. I love you, but you stepped out of marriage. Let's not fight, and you keep what's yours and I keep what's mine. I told her I have evidence of your infidelity, and also you tried to throw our families against me. I tried to keep it between us, but you went too far, and I only told them the truth after they were harassing me, and I still hid it from your co-workers so it doesn't get difficult for you in your workplace. Let's just divorce. Well, I don't know crap about legal processes, and yeah, I did pull all of that crap out of my ass. My wife cried a bit, and I hugged her, and I told her that it's over. There's no fixing this. We love each other, but love's not everything when it comes to marriage. I can't forgive you for kissing some random ass man. And then I left. I've been ignoring her text, and I'm gonna look for and file, but I also truly don't understand what's up with all of these people telling me that it's just a kiss. How do you even know? Even I don't know if it's just a kiss, or if it happened before, or if it was more than that. No matter how tough or expensive it is, I'm doing it. I've made up my mind. I won't back down. I don't want to be like one of those men who forgive their cheating wives, only to find out later that the wife is still cheating, or those who get cucked into raising somebody else's kid obliviously, or find out later that the child isn't even biologically his. Okay, moving on to story number 16, the last one for the day. Am I the gay hole for not caring that my ex is upset about the dream life that I'm giving my current partner? I, 34 male, share a 13-year-old daughter and a 10-year-old son with my ex, 37 female. I have a 2-year-old son with my current partner, 29 female, who's also pregnant with our second kid. General background, my parents were both doctors, but died in a small plane crash when I was 14. There was a lawsuit and they had assets that were in a trust, and I got that when I turned 18. Therefore, at 18, I inherited a pretty substantial amount of assets. I met my ex when I was starting college at 17. She got pregnant. She wanted to be stay-at-home like her mum. I was supportive of that, but she did not do the activities that typically come with being a stay-at-home mum, like cooking and cleaning and managing the household. I offered to hire some help, but she didn't want strangers in the house. We surprise got pregnant with our son and told her something had to give. I was working and looking to go to grad school soon. The solution was to move closer to her parents, and got into grad school there and got accepted, so we moved. There was a particular house near my in-laws that we both really loved. I originally showed it to my ex and she loved it. It was on a large corner lot and we each dreamt of buying it if it became available, but no plans were in place to buy it. Prior to our son being born, the discussion that we had is that she would get a job once both kids were in school. When our son started all-day pre-K, I suspected that she would look for work. She refused. We fought about this for a year. We divorced, we split custody, and I paid child support. About a year after our divorce, I met my current partner. Since getting pregnant with our son, she's been stay-at-home. About 4 months ago, the house that my ex and I dreamt of buying came on the market. We made an offer and it was accepted. We just spent Christmas there with all the kids. The last week, my ex called me pretty irate. She's pissed that I bought our house and that she heard from the kids that we were considering whether my partner will stay at home permanently. They overheard overheard a conversation that we had with adult family members at Christmas. She says that I'm giving my partner her dream life. I laughed and told her, beyond what affects our kids, I've got no concern for how she feels, and I hung up. According to my kid, she's been pretty upset. Am I the a-hole? Yeah, so the consensus is not the a-hole, and the top comment says, as long as your current partner knows that your ex's dream home too, not the a-hole. Main reason I would tell her is that your ex is jealous and will bitch at your partner too. It does come across as if your ex married you for money. That sucks if it's true. Sounds like you upgraded to somebody who sees the world like you do. That's good. Be mindful of your kids though. If your ex is mad enough, she may try to alienate your kids from you. Not the a-hole your ex can go pound sand. Okay, time for something wholesome. When you find the one, just hold on to them. Oh, that's so beautiful and it's so true. Don't ever let go. And also, that cat is so beautiful. Thank you for watching, guys. I hope you had a great time today. If you did, let me know in the comment section and like and subscribe if you want to. And the comment of the day goes to Charity27. An entire hour of Vincey. This made my whole day better. Oh, thank you. I really appreciate it. The last episode, I think, was like 52 minutes or something with 8 minutes of updates. But yeah, still a really long episode. And I'm so happy that you guys enjoy the long episodes. I definitely prefer the longer episodes. I'm not going to make any like ridiculously long episodes. But yeah, I like the 40 minutes to an hour sort of range. And I'm so happy you guys do too. Thank you for the support, everybody. And I'll see you in the next episode. Make sure you look after yourself and make sure you have a beautiful, amazing rest of your day. And I'll see you in the next episode. Bye!